The Boston court is in turmoil. A code red alert has been issued, which means major crisis has occurred. Emmem, Leisha, and Galeb are summoned by the prince, September 4th, 2019. So this is happening 2019. All right, let's see what chaos has ensued. Also, leg. It spells leg in the corner. All right. Vampires walk among us. Unknowing, we've built their cities, fought their wars, and sated their hunger. For centuries, these creatures have organized into rival sects, the largest of which is the Camarilla, or the Camarilla, whichever you would have preferred to pronounce it as. Pre-Panini times. In its domains, Camarilla courts enforce the Masquerade, a global conspiracy hiding the existence of vampires from the mortal world. Breaking the Masquerade is punishable by final death. I would pause because Brian has something in his hands, but I can't see. In Boston, vampire factions have long been at each other's throats. After much conflict, Hazel Iverson, the new prince, has sealed a fragile pact with a group of blood sorcerers known as the Hartford Chantry. Okay. So, I'm assuming Tremors. Alright. This alliance will not only provide stability to the domain, but will hand the prince the blood trade. Oh. The trafficking of blood and mortal victims that serve the needs of the vampire elite. Tonight, the undead will celebrate. Okay, if that's what happens, then sure. Alright. And it looks... Oh, we got some crumble cookies! Aww, that's so sweet. My friend Sheila sent me some cookies.
I'll just get this going. There.
Okay.
Ready. We're all set.
For what? What are we set for?
Now, to begin, tell me, what do you see?
I see darkness. Oh.
I don't know.
Okay. Try this. Focus on your vision.
Is that a child?
No, it's happening.
What's happening?
No, it's too late. It's too late now.
Oh. Well, shit's about to hit the fan. Who's coming? Vampire Masquerade Swansong. I mean, that's fair, but who's coming? There's a couple of things that could be in the terms of coming. There could be a couple of things that I'm thinking about. The Anarchs? Hunters? Inquisition? Who? Leisha. Okay. Alright. Hi. You're the Malkavian, I believe. Hi.
Do you feel it too?
Hi, child.
Take your stuff. We're getting out of here.
Oh. Oh!
We've got a problem.
Call them back.
Interesting. Jufang, the future of blue economy. Okay. Oh. I'm sorry, are we interrupting something? I'm so sorry. Are we interrupting something, sir?
What's going on?
It's the prince. We must go quickly.
Okay. So, alright. So, some shit hit the fan. Last time there was a code red, the Black Spiral Dancers in Chicago handed us their asses. Well, Chicago's under new management now because of the Camarilla. Princess Quarters, 11 p.m. Okay. Hello, beautiful.
Come
Are you
on.
Emmem?
Damn it. Hurry up. Calm down.
Emmem Lewis,
Maybe
rebellious
it has nothing
star.
to do with the party.
You know full
Party?
well
Okay.
I was in charge of it. If anything goes wrong, it's my head on the chopping block. Fuck!
Damn it! It took Hazel months to convince the Hartford Chantry to ally themselves with us.
Okay.
So they finally accept, and then bam, a code red. There's never been a code red in Boston, damn it! This has gotta be bad, Emmem.
Okay. Oh, we're starting the game. Okay, sure. Let's see. Dialogue. Lots of inclusivity. I love it. Dialogue skills. In a dialogue, some answers require the use of your skills. Your skill level is compared to that of your opponent. The higher rating wins. You cannot use a skill if its rating is 0. Okay, good to know. Willpower. Using a skill will consume willpower. If your opponent wins, you gain a few willpower at the end of the dialogue. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's see. She has nothing to hide. Well, yeah, that makes sense. One thing at a time, persuasion 3. Yeah, you have nothing to hide, I'm sure. I'm like, a code red could literally be anything. It could be the sneeze. It could be like the prince sneezed in the wrong direction, and we're like, oh shit, making sure no one knows that the prince sneezed in the wrong direction. Okay.
It's not like you had anything to do with it. I'm sure.
You don't get it. I was in charge of organizing the party.
But security is Jara's problem,
Yeah,
normally.
except Jara is a member of the Primogen. I'm not.
But you're a harpy. The prince will cover you. You know she's always looking for an excuse to take him down a notch.
Fair.
We'll see.
Fair.
What do we do next?
When everyone's safe, we move on to phase 2. We clean house.
Okay. So, those of you who don't know about Vampire the Masquerade, the Camarilla is pretty much a pretty high, like, feudalistic hierarchy. And they do their best to kind of cover their tracks whenever, like, humans find out about things, because it's easier to hide your tracks rather than fight head-on against humans, who literally rank from, like, 1,000 humans to 1 vampire. So whenever the Camarilla has, like, an issue with humans, we being it, like, hunters, humans finding out and campaigning against them, Second Inquisition, Society of Leopold, things of that nature, Camarilla usually, like, cleaning house means they kind of, like, hide, like, they literally trash everything, burn it all, and then run and hide in the shadows, so that way they can still survive. Alright, so, but in order for you guys to get more of an information boost of everything here, we're gonna go ahead and go through as many dialogue options as possible. What's a code red?
Did you say this is the first code red in Boston?
Ever since the fall of London,
Yeah.
protocol is no longer a laughing matter.
Whatever. They've been harping on that for 4 years now. They took away our internet access. Our smartphones.
It's called risk mitigation, that's all. A code red is an alarm signal that's sent to everyone to say, watch out, we're all in danger. And everyone runs to shelter at the nearest safe house. For us, it's with the prince. It could have been worse.
I'd have preferred worse.
You're not even listening to me.
I mean, meh? I mean, the Camarilla has their reasons, but vampires prove constantly that the Camarilla is right, despite it being extremely controlling in that regard.
What do you mean by we clean house?
Getting rid of our archives, our documents,
Yep.
anything that might betray our network and relationships.
Fair enough. All right, let's change the subject.
What comes after phase 2?
Just pray that it never comes to that.
Come on, tell me.
We run, we leave everything behind, and we go into hiding, as far from here as we can.
There's no way I'm leaving Boston. Everything I have is right here in the city. It took me years to build my clubs. I've worked too hard to give it up now.
You won't have a choice. I know you hate coming here. Are you gonna be all right?
What do you think? I know how to behave, Jay.
Yeah, I know. Just keep your cool and it'll be fine.
All right. Hello, sweetheart.
Ah, my little darlings. You're here at last. The fear that something horrible had happened to you terrified
You don't
me.
need to paint that
No
thick.
call for theatrics, April.
The prince asked to see you as soon as you arrived, Emmem. I wouldn't dilly-dally if I were you. As for you, Journey, someone's triggered a code red. If anything has happened over there, I'll hold you personally responsible.
For what? She didn't do jack. Anyway. Dialogue. Disciplines. Vampires have supernatural abilities, usually inherited from their clan. Disciplines. Some disciplines can be used in dialogues. As with skills, the higher level wins. Not all disciplines are available to all vampires. Some mortals may possess certain powers, although most have no defense against disciplines. For example, like anyone who, like, is a ghoul. The humans who have been changed into ghouls might have the ability to combat against vampiric abilities. Hunters may have technology that can help protect them from such abilities. Humans with true faith, things of that nature, they would be able to fight back. But most humans, being that they're not supposed to fucking know about vampires, typically don't have any defense. Hunger. Using a discipline generates hunger. Well, okay. Hunger has a value that cannot be exceeded. This limits the vampire's use of their powers. A vampire at their hunger limit risks losing control, attacking and feeding on the closest mortal. Fair enough. Alright, so that's a hunger system. Looks like we're at 5 right now. In looking at the board, it looks like we're in the kind of the median area. So in Vampire the Masquerade character terms, this would be like 2 or 3 hunger, technically. Because the max in Vampire the Masquerade is 5. But being that we're here 5, probably what are we thinking? I'm thinking like 12 is max hunger, so... they did push it back to Doomer Work, might need some updates. Does game audio seem skippy to anyone else? It's been pretty fine on my end. Let's see. It just came out being pushed back. Yeah, this game just came out, so there may be a couple of glitches, couple of bugs. It's completely fine. It's completely fine. Alright, but let me get some water real quick. Also, by the way, the integration with this game on Twitch, if there's a codex that comes up, you can actually explore the codex on your own if you want to learn more about the lore while I'm playing the game. So whenever a codex comes up, you'll see on the left side, you'll be able to see on screen, like in PC and all that stuff. If it comes up, you can easily look it over and see how that works. Let's see. Water. Alright, so I have no persuasion skills whatsoever, even though I'm a Toreador. So presence 1. Okay, both are gonna fail, so might as well just... I can't do this one, so I have to flatter. That's fine.
You know, back in the day, nobody could bat an eyelash without you knowing about it. You must know exactly what Jay is being blamed for, don't you?
Emmem. My dear Emmem. I adore you. Really, I do. But darling, please. You're way out of your league here. This alliance with the Hartford Chantry is crucial. The prince is on edge. We can't get through to anyone over there.
What does this have to do with Jay?
She was in charge of the whole thing, for goodness sake. Listen, both of you.
Trait gained, okay.
From now on, I don't want to hear another word out of either of you. The prince is furious. Journey, you're coming with me.
I don't see why.
And as for you, Hazel wants to see you. Right now.
Alright, shit, Jesus Christ. You don't need to bare your fangs that hard. Jeez. Okay, and looks like we can play now. Q, show goals. Answer the prince's summons. Okay, so tab. Alright, so we have Emmem Lewis, Men of Bronze. Born in Harlem in 1901, Emmem grew up in a family of poor African-American performers. Her father, Mason, was a musician by night and window washer by day. Her mother, Clara, sang when she was not taking care of her 4 children. When he was drafted in 1917, Emmem's father enlisted in the 15th Regiment of the New York National Guard, the Harlem Hellfighters, and participated in the liberation of France. He joined a jazz band in his unit that became a phenomenal success after the war ended. Path Studios had them record an album which would become the first jazz record to be played non-stop on French phonographs. Following the success, Mason decided to bring his family to Paris and to make a living playing his music in jazz clubs that were beginning to sprout up throughout the capital. Interesting. Paris. Emmem was 17 years old and was a dancer. She spent time with the elite who would come to listen to her father, and it took a little time for her to get noticed. She discovered the Foyer Bergères. It's French. The Folies Bergères and their international shows. She auditioned for it and passed with flying colors. From odd jobs backstage to subbing in for other performers, she proved herself and became a headline act at just 21 years old. Her burlesque stripping act took Paris by storm, making her extremely popular. Emmem began traveling through Europe, dancing to packed houses at the hottest cabarets. Emmem was young, beautiful, and radiant. Well, she still is, hello. Her life was the night, as champagne and money flowed. She was determined and alluring, the embodiment of a free and independent woman in the earliest 20th century. She had a fiery temperament and soon attracted the attention of Europe's divas. December 1923, Emmem performed 8 times at the Vienna Carl Theater. On the first night, she was introduced to Hilda McAndrews by the theater director outside her dressing room. Emmem was immediately captivated by this mysterious aristocrat who attended each of her performances. They spent the nights that followed in bars, exchanging stories about their lives and their art, their passions and their struggles. Hilda was cultured, charismatic, and politically engaged in the suffragette movement and the women's artistic movement. Emmem, to her surprise, fell under her spell and gave in to this irresistible attraction. A passionate relationship formed right away between the two women, who became inseparable. So, let's go, queens! Hilda confided in Emmem and told her about her vampiric nature over the course of the next 3 years. For their love to endure, but also seduced by the promise of eternal youth, Emmem asked to be sired right away. It would take yet another 3 years, however, before Hilda managed to get the local prince to agree to it. The prince feared the young woman's notoriety could be a danger to the masquerade. With the prince's blessing at last, Hilda threw a spectacular celebration in honor of her companion, whom she would embrace at the end of this memorable evening. I mean, you guys could read all of this on your own. It's on the screen, should you be able to, like, bring it back up. But it's really nice to kind of have information on this, especially for me, if we're going into, like, this is an already established universe, so I don't know exactly who is who and what is what. So yeah. Pardon me, as about to sneeze. Pardon me. Having lived in Vienna since their meeting at the Carl Theater, Hilda and Emmem left Austria in 1934 for Paris, then Bordeaux. Alas, France's surrender in 1940 forced the couple to reconsider their plans. Oh, this is like World War II, I believe? With the help of their contacts in London, Hilda managed to negotiate a crossing to Boston, her hometown. Though hesitant at first, the city's Malkavian prince, Quentin King, finally granted them asylum. Emmem and Hilda were introduced to the court, where 50 years of intrigue would bring their passion to its inevitable end. Following her breakup with Hilda, oh my god, there was something that was terrible. Oh, that's terrible. Emmem moved to a suburban Boston neighborhood far away from King, political schemes, and her sire. The area, however, with its infamous reputation due to a large population of thin bloods and anarch sympathizers, did not make for a wise investment. But Emmem refused to give up. She renovated a small theater and transformed it into a club that she named the Black Rattlers, in homage to her father's battalion. Then she returned to the stage and progressively regained her visibility and reputation. She met kindred of all kinds, from all walks of unlife, and against all odds managed to bring renewal to the neighborhood, which the Bostonian youth began to frequent. The Black Rattlers grew more prominent and became one of the city's leading clubs, where anyone was welcome regardless of their clan, faction, or origin. In 10 years, Emmem had managed to create a zone of peace, where the vampires from the Camarilla and Thin Bloods could sit together and listen to the finest jazz. It was here that she met Hazel Iverson. Charmed by the Ventrue's temperament and ideas, Emmem sympathized with Iverson, who claimed the throne of Boston in 2014. Although the departure of Quentin King and his hordes of minions delighted Emmem, she still obstinately refused to return to the court. The only thing that mattered to her were her clubs. She had 3 now. Clubs with a growing social and political power that Hazel had not forgotten. Interesting. I'll read the others when they come up, obviously. April... Let's see. So, this is more background on April. She's also a Toreador. Robert Ziegler. Interesting. 12th generation, so that's like the bare, like, the precipice of generations. Because once you hit 13th generation, you're pretty much a thin blood. Alright, now what is this traits Hello? What is this traits thing? Oh, trait menu. Traits are positive or negative effects that influence the abilities of the character in question. Traits are only revealed once they have been earned as a result of an action, a character's choice, or a consequence. Hunger. The hunger level, whether low or high, confers temporary traits that affect the character's abilities. Suspicion. As it rises, the suspicion rating creates more negative traits that increase the difficulty faced by the characters. Interesting. Alright, now what does this mean? Princess Quarters. Put in her place. Emmem has accounted others more powerful than her for now. Something to strengthen her mind for future challenges. -10 to next experience cost for mental attributes. So it's a benefit. Okay, cool. Alright. So, +10 to intimidation, but -10 to psychology. No suspicion. Very, very good. Talents. Do you have any talents, Sterling? Talents increase your abilities. Each talent is tied to a specific action. Repeating these actions progressively unlock the things of a talent. Okay, so what can you do? Rhetorician. Using rhetoric skills to gives effectiveness. Threatening. Intimidation skill. Persuasion skill. Psychology skill. Progression. Using the presence discipline increases effectiveness. Progression. Ascetic. Having completed quests without hunting any prey. Controlled hunt. Feed on prey without killing it. Beastly hunt. Feed on prey, killing it. Rat eater. Wee. Imagine a toreador eat rats. Wee. Wee. And of course, there's the codex right there. Boston. Oh, that's just talking about that. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you. All right. So look at this beautiful lady. She's so beautiful. Emmem's like gorgeous.
It's gonna be a long night.
I can tell. Finbuzz, Gehenna is upon us. Essentially.
Miss Lewis.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I actually go through these doors? Is there a run button? Is there a run button? Hold on. I need to know if there's a run button. Settings. Let's see. Controls. Run left shift. So do I hold it down? I'm holding... Oh, well, that doesn't work. Okay, so that the running button does not work. No, hold on. Let me... Okay. Is it a tap? No running a story then? I guess not.
Sorry, but Miss Iverson is occupied.
Oh, okay. I mean, she's beautiful, though. All right. Very good. Looks like other members of the Camarilla or their servants, vassals, things of that nature.
Consider it done.
Okay. Hi, buddy. Oh, what's got you pissed off?
Who's she, Galeb?
Hi.
Emmem Lewis.
She smiles like a toreador.
Letters etched in bold right upon her teeth.
What about that bearded guy who's swallowing his bile?
Oh.
Dejan Siaka.
A Tremere warlock, then?
Keep him at a healthy distance. With a sideward glance, he could make the blood in your veins boil.
Oi.
Is court attendance usually this sparse?
Huh, so we're playing as Galeb now. Galeb the Ventru. Eternal Protector, or Enforcer. I believe he's an Enforcer, knowing that he's Ventru and not the Prince. So he's probably an Enforcer of some kind. There's usually more of us. Everyone should have been at the party. She's talking too much. I mean, there's no part of being... It's timed? What's timed? Oh, your voting thing? So, how to behave with our ghoul. Oh, right, because, yeah, so the voting is timed. Okay, so that's good to know. That... Oh, wait, hello. Okay. Go. Just adjusting the screen to make sure I can read all of it. Alright, so... let's see. It's timed? Yeah, it's a vote. Yeah, there's a vote. Firmly, she's here to... So, what's the ghoul again? Yeah, like, we should... How do we behave? We should probably treat her pretty kindly. Yeah, I'd say we should treat her pretty kindly. So, like, usually there's more of us. There's usually more of us.
Under ordinary circumstances, there would be more of us here.
Is it because of the Code Red?
Could be. We should have all been at that party. But a Code Red is a Code Red. No one can leave.
Oh.
I'd hate to be Caius right about now.
Oh, hi, Nosferatu.
He's second honcho of house security. This promises to be a busy night.
I know what you mean. It's one thing to have been told that the Nosferatu don't age well. It's another thing to see it for yourself.
There's no need to be
It's
rude.
by no fault of their own.
Thank you, Galeb.
Do you think...
Galeb, you're after my own heart.
Ask the prince tonight if you can embrace me?
Oh.
No. Now is no longer the time.
Interesting. Okay.
And he?
Oof.
Is your child?
Really?
Mr. Beryl Underwood.
Low humanity. I can tell you have low humanity. Interesting. So, looking at Galeb, you get a high humanity. He looks extremely handsome still. And then you see his child, Beryl, what is it, Underwood? Low humanity, wrinkles, drained of life. He's like, yikes. So let's see. He's a real shark. He's one of the members of... Oh! Wait, so... Now that makes sense. If you're not a Primogen member, then you're probably an Enforcer. If he is Ventru, that means he's probably the Ventru Primogen? Primogen being a council of, like, each top... Not, like, top, but, like, chosen members to represent their clan, be it Toreador, Nosferatu, Tremere, Ventru, Gangrel, Bruja, things of that nature. Those are the Primogen members. So, I would say just be very careful of that guy. Be very careful.
He is tortured by a demon. We all have one. The beast that preys upon him is a love of money. If someone held a stake to his heart and cried your money or your unlife, he'd ask you for some time to think it over.
Lol?
It's his greed, then, that cost him your favor?
Everything about him was disappointment.
Damn.
Never forget that the court is a chessboard. We are monsters, and we sacrifice pawns. If you want to be a major piece, then behave accordingly.
But...
Nothing can happen to you here. We're in the prince's house. She must be finished by now. Wait for me. This won't take long.
Okay.
It's out of the question, Emmem. I won't let her get away with this.
Jesus Christ, the attitude!
All right. Calm down, Dijon.
Where's Journey?
What's it to you?
Don't start with me. She was in charge of the party. She has to take responsibility for this.
Dude, calm
Leave
down.
her out of it.
It's too late for that. Don't waste your time covering for her. She's not a kid anymore. I haven't heard from my child, and no one's able to get through to them over there.
Go on then. Go and save Imani and stop wasting your breath.
There are rules. Need I remind you? We're all stuck here.
You're such a good boy.
You'll never change.
Dijon!
Hilda.
What? Oh, come on, Hilda, she needs to grow up.
Leave us.
Bye, bitch! Thanks for the save? Awkward X meeting? Hi.
I don't need your help.
Ooh.
Mem, please.
Stop calling me that.
I was worried about you.
You still haven't moved on, have you? You're always getting in my way.
Lower your voice. People are staring.
Interesting. Okay, that sounds... Woo! Hilda's got some fire, and so does Emmem, so I can tell why they liked each other at one point. Dialogue. Focus. Focus allows you to temporarily increase a skill by 1 or 2 levels. The more you increase your focus, the more willpower cost increases. To be focused, a skill must have a minimum score of 1 point. Disciplines or knowledge cannot be focused. Okay, fair enough. Alright, so... Oh! Cool! Dialogue. Tie. If the skill or discipline levels are the same outcome, the conflict is uncertain. The chances of a victory can be influenced by a number of bonuses or penalties, as well as spending experience points. Fair enough. Okay. So, I'm assuming rhetoric. Can I... How far can I increase? So, I at least have 1 in rhetoric, so... That brings up... I kind of want to beat her. Yeah, I kind of want to beat her. Straight up. Yeah, I'll just beat her. So, yeah, do you know anything about the code red that's going on? Oh, right, she's a vampire, so she can make things difficult as well. Alright, tie. Damn, failed. Okay. Good to know. Opponent behavior. Focus. Your opponents can also focus their own skills. Unlike you, focus only allows them to increase their skill by 1 level. Player behavior. The risk of opponent focus is presented by a percentage. The more aggressive you are, skill focus, use of disciplines, the more risk of an opponent focus increases. Interesting. Okay. So I just gotta choose my battles wisely, in essence.
Do you know what this code red is all about? You're in the Primogen. You must know something.
I'm in the same boat as the rest of you. Apparently, it was from one of Moore's retainers.
What's that on your
all
neck,
I know.
honey?
Who's that?
Jason Moore. Don't you remember him?
He's the human who manages our interests when the sun comes up.
Okay.
He handles our assets, errands with the banks.
What does he have to do with this?
I don't know. It now seems that Miss Hazel Iverson, the mighty Prince of Boston, is no longer on speaking terms with the Primogen. As if now were the ideal time.
She asked to see me. Do you know why?
My best guess is that she'd like to talk to you about Journey, of course. I always warned you that girl was trouble.
Yeah.
What do you mean? She's fine.
I've gotta go. Hazel must be upstairs. I'd better hurry.
Huh. So...
What about Jara? I haven't seen her.
Jara?
Councillor Drury is not here, nor is Dr. Dunham. Mr.
Dr.
Lido's
Dunham?
teams are trying to reach them, but...
Nobody's answering?
No.
Interesting. So there's dialogue that we need to hear. Interesting. But... Codex. Codex lists and explains many concepts of Swansong in the world of darkness. The main characters you meet were also listed in the Boston screen. Alright, so like you can see all of these up. Yeah, there are adventures of all of the main clans: Ventrue, Tremere, Toreador, Nosferatu, Malkavian, Gangrel, Catif, Bruja, and just clans in general. The sects, the Camarillas, and the Anarchs. World of Darkness. Oh my god! There is a lot you can learn if you don't know about it. Luckily, I know everything. But if you want to know more, you can easily look it up. Everything is pretty much Googleable. About like the clans, the sects, the world of darkness, all of that stuff. So we won't spend our time on that. But since we met Galeb, who is Galeb? Alright, Ventrue, date of embrace. Jesus! 1745! An 11th generation? At that time? An 11th generation at 1745. I mean, yes, that would make sense. Jean-Baptiste Travanier, child Beryl Underwood. The Imperial Throne. In 1710 in Constantinople... I cannot pronounce that, forgive me. The King's Light gave birth to Cezad Suleiman, her firstborn son. Mirsha, I'm assuming Mirsha, whose birth name was Jeannette de Bazary, left France to join the harem of Ahmed III, Sultan of the Ottoman Sultan of the Ottoman... This motherfucker's a prince?! And he's not the Prince of Boston? Fucking what? She was a doting mother who constantly concerned about the child who was destined to inherit his father's throne. Suleiman, for his part, was given an excellent education and learned about the courtly life with his younger brother, Cezad Mustafa. The two brothers had very different personalities. While Suleiman was quiet, stubborn, and adventurous, Mustafa was more versatile and fearful. In 1730, their father, Ahmed III, became unpopular and the Janissaries revolted against him and forced him to abdicate in favor of his nephew. From that moment on, the seething Suleiman began plotting revenge in the long term to restore his father to the throne. Although he was aware of the problems this would cause, he felt that the only thing to do was put the rightful ruler back on his throne. His mother, having heard of this, made him promise to give up his plan and disappear before the Janissaries could kill him. She convinced him to leave for the west by faking his death. Suleiman secretly set sail one night in 1732. Mirsad died a few weeks later out of grief over the loss of her son, it was said. However, the truth was quite different. Having caught wind of her betrayal, the Janissaries murdered her. Fucking yikes. The boat that belongs to Jeannette de Bazary's family took Suleiman to the port of Antwerp, where, in homage to his mother, he called himself Galeb Bazary. He was adopted by a family of diamond merchants who traded between Europe and the New World, and those newfound fortunes grew rapidly. Under their guidance, Galeb sailed the oceans in search of new business adventures. He honed his knowledge of astronomy and mathematics, forged relationships around the globe, and used opportunity to weave an impressive web of influence. His business dealings brought him into contact with aristocrats, whose conventions he mastered, as well as with drunken sailors, whom he learned to manage. I think it's Suleiman. Out of necessity, he became a leader. His natural authority and his ability to adapt won him respect. Little by little, his life on deck of the ship became his only source of pleasure. He never set foot in his native land again. It was through sailors that he learned of his mother's death, followed by that of his father, and finally his brother Mustafa III's ascension to the throne. A throne that could have been his, a family that he could have saved. No matter how far he sailed, these thoughts were always with him. During a stop in Cadiz in 1740, he met Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, a renowned French explorer and merchant who had supposedly died in Moscow in 1689. In reality, he was a venture seeking to expand his control of a diamond trade at all cost. The collaboration between the two men proved to be fruitful even beyond Travernier's expectations. Basri's effectiveness and his discretion delighted him. In the space of a few years, the professional dealings were enriched by secrets, and the young sailor saw in his mentor the father figure that he never really had. Jean-Baptiste, yeah. One calm night after a particular turbulent Atlantic crossing, Galeb opened up to Tavernier a bit more and told him about his background. Tavernier understood what appealed to him about this young sailor, his nobility, which, although hidden, naturally emanated from him. A thought came to Tavernier, who had never sired anyone before. He began to treat Galeb like a true member of his family and spoke to him about the occult to gauge his reaction. Then came the thorny issue of revealing his true nature. Tavernier portrayed the embrace as a gift. It didn't take much to convince the young sailor of the value of agelessness. Galeb accepted. His embrace was painful and bitter, which is odd because embraces are actually rather pleasurable. It took him several days to be able to tolerate the beast that would now gnaw at him for all of eternity. Tavernier attempted to focus his child's anger on the revenge he would get against those who had deprived him of his throne, but Galeb did not see things that way. His thirst for justice was replaced by a disgust for humankind and a growing disinterest in their affairs. He now wished to rise above the kind, to use his eternity for previously impossible purposes. His sire, who saw a certain interest in it, let his child experiment. Galeb spent half a century roaming the seven seas of the globe, getting rich by acquiring diamond mines and trading companies. He toyed with the laws of men, but scrupulously respected the principles that Tavernier had instilled in him. The mutual beneficial and balanced relationship continued until the early 19th century. Interesting. So, I guess it does explain kind of his humanity, where it's just like he still balances between being fully vampire and having some bit of understanding of human culture and morality. So I guess it makes sense. Under the pretext of wanting to share his love of nature and the great outdoors with Galeb, Jean-Baptiste invited him to go to the Mauricie region to meet an old acquaintance of his, the explorer Toussaint Charbonneau. The gangrel chose to establish his den in the heart of the forest and lived like an animal. Despite his sire's instructions, Galeb had difficulty finding Charbonneau. After a physical encounter, the trapper understood why Tavernier had sent him this virtue. So he attempted to share his connection to the animal world with him, as he had done with his sire before him. While Galeb was not interested in his ability to communicate with animals, his talent at tracking prey seemed more worthy of a kindred. It even proved to be necessary in the midst of the forest for a palate as refined as his, which was not to be satisfied with just any kind of blood. Yeah, Ventrus are pretty much like, I can only drink this type of blood and nothing fucking else. We're reading about all the characters, just the main characters, just the main three. Charbonneau even trained him to differentiate the essence of a mortal from that of a kindred or even that of a lupine. The onset of the winter season forced the men to part ways. Charbonneau heading back to the Pacific, Basri returning to civilization with a new skill. Although he would never reveal this to his sire, he was thankful to him for having given him this opportunity. In 1806, with the Napoleonic Wars tearing Europe apart, Galeb met James Underwood, who, through the Sugar Trust, controlled the refined sugar trade. With the United States under an embargo, Underwood's business was failing. Galeb mustered all his knowledge to organize a large-scale smuggling operation, amassing a small fortune in the process. Underwood and Bazori formed a close relationship. Beryl Underwood was born in 1807 and inherited the business from his father, James, when he died in 1833. Galeb knew Beryl, as he watched him grow up. The 26-year-old heir asked the man he viewed as his mentor to stay with him and help him, and Galeb agreed for several reasons: his respect for his business-minded mortal, who he deemed worthy of his interest, his honor that urged him not to abandon the relationship he had with James, and the profits he could make. He felt that his future lay in the New World, and that it was better to settle there as soon as possible. As it was with the agreement of his sire that he moved to Boston for good. Tavernier sensed that Galeb had made great progress, and it was clear that the student had surpassed the master. He felt a kind of pride in this. While keeping his distance, he remained in regular contact with his child, treating him as an equal. It was on Galeb's advice that he moved to South Africa to set up new diamond mines. Beryl Underwood exceeded Galeb's expectations. He was more talented than his father, and the venture had something to do with it. But a vampire cannot become involved with a mortal over a long term without compromising their identity. Over the years, Beryl's doubts led him to question Galeb, who gave him a frank answer. He admitted his monstrous nature to him. This was far from repellent to Beryl, who became more determined and asked Galeb to give him the embrace. Galeb had never thought of siring a child himself, so he put up the decision and did not accept until 1869. Barrel's embrace was quick. He immediately felt empowered, his ambition knew no bounds, and he sought to enrich himself by any means necessary. The Sugar Trust had become the center of an international conglomerate that extended beyond the sugar trade. Barrel was involved in every plot, every betrayal. Galeb began to be suspicious of him, and he withdrew, which Barrel did not forgive him for. Over the course of the 20th century, seeing Barrel's unscrupulous behavior corrupted the kind through the environmental and health impacts of his business, Galeb distanced himself from the business. He felt he had created a monster, a threat to all kindred. Quentin King, the Prince of Boston, offered him the position of executor for the prince, which he accepted as a means of escape. King made him one of his favorite tools, sending him to hunt down those who threatened the Boston Camarilla. After centuries of building a business empire, chasing opportunities, and eliminating competitors, Galeb derived satisfaction from the simple task of doing what he was told. He didn't count the kindred destroyed, the mortals killed, or the thin-blooded suppressed. He served as prince with his signature loyalty. When Barrel joined the Quentin King's Primogen Council, Galeb grew weary. This is a lot of reading. Holy shit. But I think Galeb has the most history, being that he's the oldest. So even though his generation is a little lacking. In recent years, the elders have started to feel an increasingly insistent urge to travel. Tavernier was one of the first to give in. Not having been warned, Galeb considered this a betrayal. However, he also felt the same need. He was almost ready to give in to it. But King's disappearance changed everything. Underworld asked Galeb to become the new Prince of Boston. He hoped to be able to manipulate Galeb to serve his own interests, but Galeb knew his child all too well and refused this poison gift. So it was Hazel Iverson who became the Prince of Boston. Quickly, she surprised everyone by proving to be much less manipulable as expected, which was a pleasant surprise to Galeb. He then decided to put himself at her service. Iverson was happy with a renowned ally like him and accepted. His interest in the Camarilla and his kind was renewed as this new prince seemed to hold her own and had great plans for the future. It was during the same period that Galeb heard about a young mortal who had just graduated from MIT and had gone to Silicon Valley to found a startup specialization in blue economy. He inquired about her and finally met her. Finally, he won her trust and offered to make her his ghoul, with the aim of embracing her in the near future. He hoped to make her the counterpart of Barrel's self-destructive drive. However, Hazel Iverson did not subscribe to the same policy as Quentin King and would not grant the right to sire so easily. She even saw it as a way to maintain control over her precious Galeb, who was forced to wait. Consumed by the beckoning, he could no longer bring himself to leave without having repaired what he considered to be his greatest mistake. Interesting. Alright, does he have any... we're still on MM, never mind. Alright, so... there's that. Oh, now I can run. Very good. Alright, so who are you?
They've all got such long face.
Hey. Hi.
Hey, Abby.
Abby.
Hey, Emmem.
Hello. You know anything about the Code Red that's going on?
Abby, do you know what's going on?
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Please? I feel like I've been plopped down in the middle of a minefield.
There are rumors about Journey. Rumors about how this is all her fault.
But she didn't do anything, did she?
Jay was in charge of the party?
Yeah.
Shit. I bet she's gonna take the fall for whatever happened.
I don't think she's involved, but we've got to be on our guard.
That's fair. That's an extremely fair point. You don't know who fucked up and who didn't. Hi.
Shitty night, huh?
Yeah, pretty shitty night. So you're Barrel. Hey.
Emmem.
Hi.
We haven't seen you here in ages now, have we?
No. It's because of the Code Red.
Let's holster our weapons. I'm only here because of that goddamn Code Red.
Blunt and to the point, as usual. With a bit of luck, your suffering will be over soon.
Fair enough.
How's business these days?
It's fine.
You want to invest?
Don't tempt me.
Lamal? Can't bring it any higher. But yeah, her clubs don't seem profitable to a guy like him.
I'm shocked to think you put so much as a penny into one of my clubs. They don't bring in enough for your taste, Barrel.
You're right. I'm not interested in them.
He definitely has low humanity.
If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone. I'm waiting for Galeb.
Yeah, you can definitely tell this fucker has low humanity just by the fact that he looks like he hasn't slept in 5 forever days. That's back there. Do I go up to the elevator? Is that what I do? Princess floor. Okay, I guess that's what I do. There. Alright.
What a shitty night.
Yeah, pretty shitty night.
Hazel must be pissed. What the hell could she want with me?
Interesting. Alright. Oh, hello. Are we in the Malkavian's mind now? Layla? Or, yeah. The VA for this game is fantastic. I was just like, huh. What happened here? We're in a state of very strange premonition. What happened? Some sort of institution, obviously. But what kind of institution are we talking about? A mental hospital, maybe? Hospital just in general? Specialized? Leisha! Unstable seer. Oh, I love your eyes, honey.
Okay, Mom?
Oh, hi!
Penny for your thoughts?
Nothing, Pumpkin. What were you saying?
Wait.
You saw pictures again? You're not going back to the Institute, are you?
The Institute?
No, don't fret. I'm gonna stay here with you now.
I don't like it when Richard takes you away.
Really?
He's my psychiatrist. He's helping me so I can be with you.
Mom has a little trouble sometimes, remember?
I see things that haven't happened yet. And I forget others.
Yes, I know. And you have to slumber so you can rest all alone sometimes. But 3 years was too long.
3 years? Wait, hold on. You guys were separated for 3 years? What the fuck? So, okay. So, Leisha apparently has premonitions of the future. So, it's a seer. Essentially a seer. But my question is, what is the child doing here? Is the child also a Malkavian? Okay, hold on. Is there a way to... Yes. Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alright, so, Leisha, last character. Oh, hers is extremely fucking short. Holy shit. Malkavian, 12th generation, so on the border. 1939. Interesting. That which remains. Leisha's story is nothing more than a collection of fragments due to her memory impairment. She remembers that she is from France, near Lyon, and that Dr. Richard Dunham is her psychiatrist, as he has always been. She knows that he saved them from the war in 1939, both her and her daughter Halsey. He made it possible for them to join the Boston court, held at the time by Quentin King, a child of Malkav like them. The rest is nothing but light and shadow. Leisha knows the names and sometimes even the stories of those around her without exactly knowing how or why. She remembers Quentin King, the previous prince, and his legendary obsessions. And more recently, Hazel, the first year of her rise to power. Leisha remembers her warmly and fondly, despite only knowing her for a single year before leaving to be put into slumber at the Malkav Institute of Boston, prescribed by Dr. So she was in torpor? Wait, she was in torpor? Okay. Leisha suffers from sudden visions where the present moment and possible futures bleed into one another. She fights her gift in order to be fit to take care of Halsey. However, this does not serve the prince's plans, as Hazel views this power as a way to master fate and bolster her ambitions. Interesting. Interesting. Oh. So she has one in psychology and dominate. Interesting. 3 years was insanely really long, and there's not much about this character, so we're gonna have fun trying to learn her.
It seemed like an eternity without you.
I missed you too, Mom.
Aww.
I need my sweet little monster.
Sweet little mom.
What's going on? Why does everybody look so upset?
I think something serious is happening.
Yeah, something really serious is happening.
I still haven't seen Richard. I looked for him so he could explain, but he can't be found.
So what do we do now?
I was told to wait here because Hazel wants to see us. There are grown-ups coming, and your mother needs to talk to them.
Oh, then I'll go hide, because grown-ups talk to me too much.
If you want, sweetie. But don't wander off. Go on. Show me what you do to make sure no one spots you.
Okay, here I go.
Oh, so she is, okay, she's also a child of Malkav. Okay. So, I'm assuming that Leisha made her a vampire as well.
Leisha?
Oh.
It's been a while.
Hey.
Hey, Emmem.
Is this the coterie? Is this a coterie right here?
You get out.
Just tonight. Hazel wanted to see me.
That means she's extremely worried about the situation.
That, or she's a major drama queen.
Huh. So this little coterie right here, interesting. Yeah. Probably don't know how serious this is, Emmem.
You shouldn't make light of the situation, believe me. There aren't many of us who have experienced a Code Red and survived.
Thanks for the heads up, Professor Bazori. First Siaka, now you. Why won't anybody give me a break tonight?
Maybe you asked for it.
Or maybe if you behaved in a manner more appropriate to the circumstances and our setting.
Emmem's like, I fucking can't with these fuckers. Yeah, Emmem's like, I'm so fucking over this shit. Dijon, I'm assuming that's the guy that was yelling at her. Probably, like, yeah. Child Malkav? Child of Malkav is Malkav being the antediluvian of the Malkavian clan. But I guess Dijon was kind of an asshole, like literally yelling at her for no fucking reason, so he kind of asked for it.
Siaka jumped down my throat. Was I supposed to let him take his nerves out on me? No, I'm sorry. That's not how things work, Bazori.
We must all remain calm and accept any help we can get, even from the most unusual sources.
That's surprising to hear, coming from a blue blood. At least your certainties come from a more solid source than a prophecy from a child of Malkav.
You don't know what you're talking about.
All I'm saying is that whatever the problem is, your hallucinations aren't gonna help us solve it.
Interesting. So Emmem is pretty stuck up, but then again, all Toreadors in S's kind of are stuck up. There's no need to take out your anger on anyone, sweetheart. Like, I get people were being dicks, but like, Leisha, why not? Galeb, of course. Emmem, for sure. Leisha, fuck it.
And yet, many of the things I saw ended up happening. Quentin King's disappearance, Hazel's rise to power, your breakup with Hilda, too. But you're probably right. It's just Hazel and her flair for the dramatic.
Only time will tell.
Oh, hi.
Good evening, ladies, sir. The prince shall see you now.
Okay.